Mashle, magic and muscles. Magic realm can be seen at the beginning, a world with magic, where everybody freely uses magic as part of their natural everyday life. In this world, the inhabitants can use magic as they want. Magic itself is seen as a gift from God. Nevertheless, knowing and mastering magic are two different things in this realm. This is because the latter guarantees you a higher social status. Mash Burnedead, whose very existence defies the natural order, he could lift heavy weights like they were weightless. Also, his love for cream puffs cannot be ignored, as it happens to be the one meal he can do anything to obtain. Anything, including disobeying his 75-year-old father, Regro Burnedead. Regro claims and believes he is a chic and elegant 75-year-old. As much as this is false, he lives alone with his son in a forest far from other humans. I'm sure you are wondering why he has to do such a thing. We'll go into that later. Surprisingly, while talking about this, his son, Mash, pulls out the door to enter the house. This frightens the hell out of Regro, who screams out of fear. Seeing that it's just his son, he shouts at him for ripping out the door. In his defense, Mash states that he couldn't remember if he had to pull or push the door. Since he had just apologized, Regro stopped shouting. He is pleased with the fact that his son is always so pleasant. He thought as quickly as the dull-headed Mash tried to fix the door by forcing it into its place. This gets Regro angrier, and he orders Mash to turn the door so that it will fit, but he ignores his father and destroys the door. As Regro is boiling with rage, Mash promises to fix it again. Later that day, after fixing the door, Regro uses his magic to make tea for his son. While doing so, he asks Mash if he has completed the training routine for the day, and the latter answers positively. Then, the curious Mash seeks to know why all his training is physical. This question gets Regro thinking that Mash is unlike ordinary people and cannot use magic because he is different. He, however, chooses not to tell this to Mash and promises to give him an answer in the form of a story sometime. To all this, Mash assures his father that he will follow the instructions. I guess you thought that he would too. Immediately, his father headed out. He wasted no time and ran straight to the city, seeking a solution to his empty stomach. While walking on the street, he partially covers his face, and looking around, he wonders why everyone is doing even the smallest things with magic, especially since they can do it with their hands. This shocks him to the bone. But the ever-modest Mash apologizes, returning the coins to fix them. Just then, he bent each coin back into shape. Seeing him do this freaks out the seller. Without wasting much time, his hands mash his cream puff. In a short moment, his face is revealed, and everyone sees it. On the other hand, a magical police officer, Brad Coleman, pays attention to the news, where a young, promising student is being talked about. Hearing this, he states that the boy is lucky and the direct opposite of him, who lives a dull life in a dull place. Soon after, Brad rises from his seat and transfers his frustration to a prisoner who has been tied and tortured. Seeing him coming, the prisoner pleads for mercy. However, he did not flinch. Meanwhile, Mash is still aware of the situation he finds himself in. He remembers his father's words, telling him to never enter the city. While he apologizes in his mind, he doesn't regret coming because he got the cream puffs he came for. On his way, he met a chubby-looking man in uniform who gets angry because Mash just stained his uniform. When this happens, the man says that he is a proud member of the magic police tasked with protecting ordinary humans like him. Angrily, he keeps ranting, and to relieve his pain, Mash offers him a cream puff. This makes him angrier because Mash just offered him a half-eaten cream puff out of pity. Approaching them, Brad is surprised to see Mash eating, as he wonders why anyone would be eating in this situation. Just as he is about to start asking questions, Regro arrives, grabbing Mash as he runs back to the forest as quickly as possible. Watching this happen, Brad is pleased because he thinks finishing the case would give him a chance to be promoted. He immediately sent a magical bird to go after them. After he leaves, Regro thinks how much his son has grown into the opposite of what he thought an adolescent should be. They had lived in the forest to hide Mash from the rest of the world. But he worries now that the magic police know about Mash. Because of this, he ponders upon a possible solution. However, it's already too late as Brad's bird has already found its location, and now he breaks into the house. At this moment, Mash had just completed the training routine and was heading back home to save some cream puffs. Brad has now concerned Regro and seeks to know where Mash is. He explains that those without magic are not supposed to live, asking to know where Mash is. Even with how much Brad harasses, threats, and beats him up, Regro refuses to tell them where his son is. His present situation reminds him of his time growing up without parents. Everyone had always looked at him as a failure and an outcast, causing him to apologize at almost every point in his life. Seeing the child, he immediately realizes they are alike and decides to care for him. The child made him feel like he needed it for the first time in his life. Remembering this makes him strengthen his resolve never to reveal Mash's whereabouts. When asked again, he screams for Mash to run. This makes Brad realize that the boy could have been close by. He ordered his men to search the area immediately. As they approached the door, Mash barges in with a powerful punch to the chin of one of them. This caused the officer to fall through the walls of the house. Seeing his son, Regro asks why he did not run away, but the former states that they are family. Also, he apologizes for being selfish and promises to send the officers to hell since he is here now. Hearing him say this, Brad laughs out loud. He wonders how Mash plans to take him down without magic. To finish the young boy off, he conjures a powerful spell that had been used previously to drive away a dragon, throwing it at Mash. Shockingly to everyone, including Regro, Mash shoves off the spell with a backhand slap. Seeing his father's wand on the floor, he picks it up and gets permission to borrow it. Watching him do this, Brad wonders if the boy can do magic. Immediately, he sets up a barrier to protect himself from any magic the boy would throw at him. However, he was shocked when Mash threw the wand at him, destroying the barrier and leaving a cut on his face. At this point, Brad admits defeat. He goes on his knees, amazed at never seeing anyone use a magic wand like Mash just used it. Meanwhile, after saving his father, Mash threatens Brad to leave his family alone or risk dying at his hands. On the other hand, Brad suggests they make a deal. He asks Mash to do what he asks, promising to let him and his father be. He tells Mash how, once a year, an exceptional student is revered and called the Divine Visionary. He asks Mash to enroll in a magic school and to be chosen as one, mostly since being chosen would mean that God has accepted him. Acceptance by God, he says, will lead to acceptance by society. However, he only wants the fortune and the prestige that comes with it. Hearing all this, Regro urges his son not to take the deal, but Brad assures them that they will be hunted for the rest of their lives if Mash refuses. Considering this, Mash accepted the deal. However, this is against his father's wishes, but he assures his father that he is only doing so to ensure they live in peace again. Hearing his son say this, Regro realizes how good the young man is. The Easton Magic Academy, a historic and prestigious school that has produced numerous pillars of the magic realm, will soon undergo its entrance exam, which is notoriously difficult. This is simply because it's a prestigious school and things cannot appear easily. The students must be thoroughly scrutinized. Not even 3% of applicants will be admitted. Only those with superior magical powers can open the gates of Easton. Some of this year's applicants are the scions of established nobility and the undersecretary's son from the Bureau of Magic. A welcome announcement is made, after which the Invigilator uses magic to appear in front of them. All the students are amused by this as they make various remarks. He introduces himself as Claude Lucci and will oversee their entrance exam. After introducing himself, he showed off other forms of magic as the students worshipped him even more. They recognize him to be the Claude they heard about. He appears to have mastered all forms of magic. He instructed them to take their seats, as no seats were in the open area. They start to murmur as he uses magic again to create seats and writing materials, and they express their amusement again. However, one of them seems indifferent and doesn't show any form of entertainment at all. The test seems hard. He had twisted the questions to resolve around the paper using magic. However, the indifferent student, Mash, could complete the exam even before 30 minutes were up by simply asking the revolving questions to stay put. Claude is surprised that a student who he thinks of as a slacker is doing this much. He becomes really angry as he decides to give him a more difficult task. He creates a maze of puzzles and teaches everyone to find their way through each level. They also only have 30 minutes to complete the task. However, she seems to be a distraction as she keeps getting into small traps. Mash gets tired and decides to leave behind. She stops him with magic, binding his hands and legs. Mash breaks free from her trap after discovering she had deceived him for a selfish purpose. He took off, leaving her behind. A few minutes later, she is attacked by a giant who seeks an answer to his riddle. She fell to her knees and started to bleed, sweating profusely. The girl feels sorry for behaving badly and shows concern for the examination, as they might be unable to make it in time after all that has happened. Claude had set up obstructions in every way possible. However, to his surprise, Mash and the girl broke through the walls. Claude is very surprised as he screams because the walls are not ordinary, and it's believed that no form of magic can break them. However, all the students turned their backs on him, asking that he be disqualified because he broke the rule and it was wrong to break through the puzzle. They asked him to go back home. Mash, on the other hand, wants to go home. The girl he had saved earlier interrupts everyone, asking them to forgive him. Claude becomes angry and decides to fail both of them, stating that nothing is wrong with failing two students that he did not like in the first place. He says that he will fail them unless he can be challenged, and he is quite sure that no one can challenge a professor like himself. It is a lost battle, and it would be rather foolish for someone to take up the challenge of fighting a lost battle. Mash breaks his wand and says that he is going rather too far. Claude becomes angry, and just as he prepares to lash out, the headmaster, Master Wahlberg, appears to interrupt the mini-battle. He beckons everyone to be silent as they will start the final interview immediately. One of them stated that he did not answer correctly, which is why another member protested. However, they are silenced by the headmaster, who says that it is fine. He moves on to the next question, to inquire if he truly saved a girl in the maze test, even though he knows there is less time to solve the maze puzzle. He replies saying that he saved her. The headmaster then asks what mandated him to save her by risking that she will fail the test. Mash only looks straight as the headmaster states that he can only approach a situation like he did because he does not yet have a clear understanding of the ways of the world. He also states that many creatures are stronger than him in the world. The headmaster asks if he were to face something that overwhelmed him, he would still be able to take such action. The headmaster states that the giant figure standing before him is an ancient spell that transfers the soul of the target's most cherished one into a doll. He states that if a knife is stabbed at the doll, the being may never return, and his or her existence will be forgotten forever. Mash pierces himself with the knife even before the old man can finish talking, as he states that he cannot keep something as large as that forever. He pierces through himself as the headmaster is bewildered and reminds him again that he is helpless. The headmaster is convinced that Mash is the kind of person who has the capacity, according to his observations. Without his mindset and capacity to assist others, Mash could not have pulled those things off. The room changes from a harsh environment created by magic into a bright setting of candles and aesthetic pictures. Mash tells him it is nothing but proceeds to say something else as the headmaster listens keenly. He replies to the question his master had asked earlier, stating that if he had to face the headmaster, he would knock the stuffing out of him with his fist without hesitation. The headmaster ignores this and only laughs, after which he welcomes him to Easton Magic Academy. Many things had happened. However, Mash had passed the entrance examination for Easton Magic Academy. They attend their first class as the professor teaches one of the most basic spells, the lock opening spell. She states that they have to imagine opening a lock as they infuse it with magic energy. The professor becomes very angry as she rages like a fire that cannot be extinguished. She remarks that she had done garbage, which is not what she had thought of him. She remarks that he is in a magical school, and the academy is not an ordinary place nor a place to play around. He replies calmly, stating that he is not good with magic or whatever she is teaching, as she becomes even more enraged and also tries to know what he is doing at the academy if he has no sense of magic. What would you rather have, magic or muscles? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.